This is Dr. Manjunath Chennapgod from Anveshana Academy. Uh, Yesterday class we discussed about what is closed system in detail, and also we discussed some engineering application for that closed system, and also we discussed what is fixed boundary, what is moving boundary, and what is real boundary in the previous video. In today's class, we are going to discuss what is open system. Open system is a system in which both mass and energy may crosses the system boundary of a crosses the system boundary. That type of system we can call it as an open system. Open system is a system in which both mass and energy crosses the system boundary. That type of system we can call it as an open system. What is open system? We will understand better by considering one engineering application, that is IC engine. That too, in IC engine I am going to consider piston and cylinder arrangement. Okay, so you can see here now piston and cylinder arrangement. Okay, air will enters into the cylinder. Okay, it will be get compressed due to supply of fuel into the gas. Okay, with fuel supply with the help of fuel injector, or with the help of carburetor we are going to supply fuel into the gas. When we are going to burn it with the help of fuel injector or spark plug, that air and fuel mixture will be burned and it will become a gas. Assume that it becomes a hot gas now. Okay, so when it becomes a hot gas, it is having a pressure of V1, volume V1, and temperature T1. Then when it is a hot gas is surrounded by a layer, that layer we can call it as a boundary or system boundary. So now I will open the exhaust valve. Okay, I will open the exhaust valve. When we are going to open the exhaust valve, the hot gases will come out of the exhaust valve. When hot gas or hot air you can call, when it is coming out, right, it is going to carry, when we are telling hot gas, right, it is coming out of the system, right, it is crossing the system boundary. When the hot gases is crossing the system boundary means heat energy is carried away. And also when hot air or hot gas is coming out, it is going to carry some amount of mass. Hence both mass and heat energy, they are going to cross the system boundary, or they are transferring from system to the surrounding. If there is a mass transfer and heat energy transfer in a system, that system we can call it as a open system. Open system is a system in which both heat energy and mass transfer takes place across the system boundary, that we can call it as an open system. You can see here now, it's engineering applications. You can see in simple term what we can see, this is a system in which both mass, you can read, okay, in which both mass and energy may crosses the system boundary. If it is a system, then that type of system we can call it as a open system. That we can call it as a open system. Okay, to understand this open system better, I will consider one more engineering application, that is water heater. Okay, that is water heater I will consider. Okay, water heater, one more application, engineering application I will consider here now. Assume that this is a tank. Okay, water tank. There is a coil. With the help of that coil, what I will do, I will heat the water. Okay, then whatever the water is surrounded by a layer, right, that layer we can call it as a envelope, or a layer we can call it as a system boundary. And that water having a fixed quantity and it is having in a volume, that volume we can call it as a control volume. Okay, that volume having a surface, that surface we can call it as a control surface. When we are going to consider certain quantity of water, right, that is H2, it is having in a volume, that volume, fixed volume, we can call it as a fixed or definite volume, we can call it as a control volume. That volume itself, it is going to have a surface, that surface we can call it as a control surface. Then what I will do, whatever the water tank is there, right, I will assume it as a system. I will call it as a system. You can see now, I will call it as a system. Okay, fine. And that system, okay, see here now, when hot water, right, you can take hot water. Okay, you are taking out of this tank. That means what? This is system boundary. Hot water is crossing the system boundary means that hot water, you can see here now, hot water, I have shown the arrow mark in the downside, right? That hot water is coming out, right? When hot water H2O is coming out, right? It is carrying certain amount of heat energy. I will write it He, heat energy. When it is crossing the system boundary, right, certain quantity of water means what? It is having certain amount of mass. So both heat energy and mass, they are transferring across the system boundary. That type of system we can call it as a open system. Then what we will do? We will take that hot water and we will use that hot water for bath, for our bath actually. Okay, so when both heat and mass are transferred across the system boundary, that type of system we can call it as an open system. This is also one example, engineering application or example we can consider for our study. Now moving towards next, I will try to discuss some more engineering application for this open system. So we can see here now, I will take in a radiator. You can see in a car, right? You can see, you can in a car or your vehicle, you can see there is a radiator. What you will do? You are going to supply cold water into the radiator, right? Then the radiator, I will call it as a system. This radiator, I will call it as a system. Okay. When it's a water circulated through the tubes, right? Then what happens? Over a period of time, that cold water will become, that cold water will become hot water, or cold water turns into hot water. Assume that I am going to remove that hot water from the radiator. If the hot water is coming from the radiator means, when we are telling hot, it is going to carry some amount of heat. It is going to carry some amount of heat. That means what? Heat is also transferring across the system boundary. This is system, I will assume it as a system boundary. That means what? Heat is crossing the system boundary. One thing, when you are carrying water is coming out, right? Definitely there is a certain amount of mass, is mass also transferring across the system boundary. Then that is nothing but open system. Hence in the radiator, when the hot water is coming out of the radiator means heat energy as well as mass transferring takes place. Then that radiator we can call it as a open system. This is also one engineering example we can consider. Okay, so I will consider one more examples. You can take it an example 2 here. I will consider example 3. So you can take a kettle. Okay, kettle, whenever whatever tea you can call tea. Okay, that tea is nothing but what? Substance, that, or you can call it as a matter. And this, the whatever the tea contains in the kettle, right? That I will call it as a system. That I will call it is here system. Okay, fine. So now whenever you are going to pour hot tea into a cup, right? That means what? When you are assuming this as a system and it is surrounded by a boundary, when you are going to pour the tea into the cup, right? That means what? Tea is coming out of the kettle. That means what? From the system, what happening actually? Hot tea is coming out. When hot tea is coming out, heat energy is transferring. One thing, when certain quantity of tea is coming out of the system means it is having an a mass transfer. That we can call it as a mass transfer. When you are going to pour the tea into the cup, right? Both heat energy and mass transfer takes place. If it's so, that system we can call it as a open system. If both heat energy and mass transfer takes place, that we can call it as a open system. So what is comparison between closed and open system? So to understand the comparison between closed and open system, I'm going to take one more engineering application, that is compressor. Okay, compressor. Initially in the compressor, you can see here now in this particular diagram, the gas is there. When you are going to compress the gas, right, the gas temperature will be gets increased. But you can see in the figure, dear students, the gas is there and it is surrounded by a layer, that is boundary, and this piston and cylinder arrangement, I call it as a system. Anything external to the system is surrounding. Okay, as I told, the gas is surrounded by a layer. That layer you can call it as a system boundary. Okay, this is piston and this is cylinder arrangement. The piston is moving left and right, you can see here now. So you can see here now, there is no provision to transfer from provision for gas to transfer from system to the surrounding. Why so? It is completely closed. I means completely it is surrounded by a fixed boundary. Hence there is no Hence there is no transfer of mass. As I told, when it is compressed it becomes hot, right? Hot gas, right? When it is exposed to the atmosphere there is chances of transfer of heat energy. So heat energy, but there is no mass transfer, no mass transfer. So in the compressor, during compression process, the gas is gets heated. When it gets heated, the temperature of the gas becomes more. When it is exposed to the atmosphere, heat energy will transfer from system to the surrounding. Hence heat energy transfer takes place. But as it is completely closed, there is no provision for transfer of mass. Hence there is no mass transfer, but only heat energy getting transfer. That type of system you can call it as a closed system. Okay, the same application I will take it here now. Initially I have taken a gas, right? I compressed it. That compressed gas I will make to transfer from system to the surrounding in this fashion. We can, I will give an opening here now. Gas is coming out. When the gas is coming out, right, when it is compressed, right, whatever the gas is coming out, right, I can call it as a hot gas. When it is a hot gas, right, it is carrying certain amount of heat as well as certain amount of mass. When both heat and mass they are transferring across the system boundary, that system we can call it as a open system. So this is a open system in which, this is a open system in which energy transfer takes place and mass transfer takes place. But here it is a closed system in which closed system in which heat energy transfer takes place, but there is no mass transfer, no mass transfer. If it's so, that we can call it as a closed system. Okay. Here are some more application of open system that you can see here now. Dear students, refrigerator you can take, electric power plant you can take, automobile engine you can take, oil pump you can take, and you can take your body itself. It's also act as an open system. Why so? Because when you are breathing, right, when you are breathing, right, when you are breathing, right, so hot gas is coming out, sorry, hot air is coming out, right? That means what? Human body is a system. Hot air is coming out of the body, right? That means what? When hot air is coming, both heat and mass energy transfer takes place. Not only this human body, I will try to take some more live examples for this open system. Okay, those live examples for open system you can see here now. When a man is doing exercise in gym, right? Okay, he's sweating. When he's sweating, right, some hot water particles they're coming. You can, human body you can assume it as a system. From the system, what happen? Hot water particles, when sweating, right, hot water particles they are coming from his human body. That means what? Hot particles means what? It is carrying certain amount of heat as well as mass. Hence it is an open system. One example you can take, when baby will crying, right? When baby is crying, you can take eye as a system. You can take eye as in a system. From the eye, hot water, that means what? Tears they are coming out, right? You can see here now, tears, they're hot actually. When the tears they are coming out from the eye, means that eye act as a system. The tears carrying certain amount of heat there as well as certain amount of mass. That means both mass and heat energy getting transferred across the system boundary, that we can call it as a open system. You can, as I told, T what you can consider best example, engine emission. Engine emission, right? Engine, this is, you can call it as a system. This is, you can call it as a system. Whole body you can call it a system. From the system, what actually happening now? Hot gas is coming out, or you can call it as a exhaust emissions. When the exhaust emissions are coming out, they are carrying certain amount of heat energy, and also they are going to carry certain amount of mass. Hence it is nothing but what? Open system. Okay, quick recall, what is open system? Open system is a system in which both mass energy may enter and exit from the system boundary. That is known to be open system. Okay, you can see now, this is also open system. That matter you can call, you can, this is mass system is not, it is consist of certain amount of matter in it, then that matter having in a volume, fixed volume or definite volume, that volume you can call it as a control volume. The whatever that volume having a surface, right, that surface we can call it as a control surface. Okay, you can call it as control surface or a boundary through which what actually happening in open system, both mass and energy they are getting transfer. That type of system we can call it as a open system. Okay, so like that we can get n number of application. Okay, like that we can get n number of application of open system. See here now. Okay, open system application, you can see automobile engine, you can take a steam power plant, you can take a steam power plant, you can take a air compressor, you can take solar water, you can take battery charging unit, you can take. These all are application of open system. I hope you understood what is open system and what are the examples for open system we have studied. Okay, thank you. Dear students, here with I request you, please do subscribe, like and share the video to your friends and give some comments over the video. By giving comments and share and subscribe, it will be helpful for me to do future videos. Thanks for your patience. We'll continue in next class. Thank you.